So, how do you stay motivated in anything you do? As much as I'd like to not get into motivation and stuff, because it's a weird topic to talk about, especially considering the fact that most of your success is not because of motivation, so people tell, but there are still things that you could do to be more consistent in things. I actually remember the time when I kind of got off the motivation trend when I was literally just watching a lot of videos on motivation and stuff, literally getting pumped to do something. But after some time, I don't know how, I don't know when exactly, I realized that I need to get into something more meaningful, into something more sustainable. David Goggins says that when the motivation is gone, what the fuck are you gonna do? If you don't have your motivational speech video, what are you gonna do? Who's gonna carry the boats? I actually started studying on things, especially on productivity and stuff, trying to find tips and tricks to be more consistent, and it kind of just became my lifestyle over time, just trying to make everything as efficient as possible and optimizing for shit, which is still what I do, but without putting in as much effort as I used to. One of the first principles, one of the most important principles in productivity is about friction, removing friction from doing things. Friction is one of the most powerful things in the productivity universe. It can stop literally anything if you let it. So how do you reduce friction to the point where you can get started and you can keep going? Let's just talk about that. There are some activities that you're doing that have a lot of friction to start. There are a lot of things, something that you do that cause a lot of friction to start. That's one step. Then there are a lot of things that cause friction when you want to keep doing them. That's the second step. So, how do you reduce friction in starting? As I have noticed over time, one of the best things about reducing friction is that once you do that, some things actually become fun. I'm going to give you an example from my life that I encountered so many times that's why I learned about it, about friction and stuff. It has something to do with coding. So what happened is every single day I turn on and turn off my computer, right? Since my computer is not powerful enough and there are a lot of things that break for some reason, I still don't know why. There are just some things that you have to do every single time to get started, especially coding. If I want to start coding today on my website, I have to turn on my computer. It's going to take 30, 40 seconds, several minutes sometimes. And I have to turn on the apps, open the apps. It's going to take several minutes again. And I have to start the project. And I have to sync the data. And I have to start development of it, which is like a start testing environment for the website. And I have to start my database. I have to do a lot of other things that just get in the way of coding, of just tweaking your fucking website. That's a problem. That's a lot of friction. I never actually got around that. I still have to do those steps. I never really tried to go around them as well, but I've tried to reduce friction and other things. But that's just an example. It is something that has a lot of steps, a lot of things to do before you actually start moving the needle, getting work done. But then there's another thing, which is the friction during your work. And it goes something like this, again, from the example of coding. I am trying to tweak that one thing. So I try to open the file that is responsible for that thing, and it's slow. It takes several seconds. Okay, I tweaked a text, for example. It's supposed to be like an instant change. But when I go to the browser to see the website, it's not reloading. It's literally just loading, and you have to wait like 5 or 10 seconds. So think about it. If you need to make like 100 or 500 changes that day, like tweaking stuff here and there until you get a satisfying result, with the kind of waiting that you have to do, it's insane amount of friction. It's going to frustrate you so much. It did frustrate me. I dealt with it. But that is friction. If you don't love the activity that you do enough, that friction is going to stop you. That's the first rule of it. Reduce the friction to a minimum. Since this video is more about how to be consistent and motivated. I'm going to tell you a concept that changed my perspective on most of the things, which is playing a different game, particularly infinite games versus finite games. Look, there are two types of games in life: infinite game and finite game. I'm going to give you an example with friendship. You are not building a relationship with your friend to win something. You are building a relationship, like playing a game of friendship, to stay in the game, to stay friends, not to win. That's an infinite game. But, for example, something with sports, you are playing to win, which is a finite game. You need to change that perspective. You need to find another angle that is going to put you in an infinite game. Infinite game, the whole principle of it is to stay in the game, whereas in the finite game, the whole principle is to win. When you get into something and you try to be consistent at it, and you try to be motivated at it, and you try to show up, think of it as not as the end of the result, as not the state that you want to get to, but as the thing that you want to keep doing. Let's take working out. In my life, working out is a lifestyle. It's something that I do. It's not something that I want to win at. It's just something that I do. My entire objective is to stay in the game of working out. My entire objective is to keep going with it, to keep exercising. Because it would be stupid just to think that once you reach a certain result in working out, you just don't have to do it, right? Like winning in terms of exercise, it just doesn't make sense. The entire point of exercising is to be healthy and to stay healthy, to stay in the game. That is why. So try to find that infinite game angle in whatever you're doing. If you are learning a language, for example, try to change your perspective to something like you are just going to use that language forever. It's just an asset in your mind. Whereas looking at it something like, I want to speak the language. No, look at it as a lifestyle. Look at it as a life, as your life in the future. Look, the last principle is about choosing the right thing in the first place. I think Naval said it, that it's not important how hard you row. It's important in what boat you're in. It's about choosing the right thing to do. It's about focusing on doing the right things at the right time so that your preparedness meets the opportunity in the future. I'll give you an example that applies to my life and especially to making videos. It's not important how hard I try to make videos as much as it is to in what boat or where I am posting those videos, or more than that. It's not important how hard I work at anything. It's more important that the thing that I work hard at is more important. For me, it's the creator economy. Just by the fact that I am kind of in the creator economy already puts me in the position where I might be working less harder than the other person working on coding, but because the boat is headed in the opportunistic direction, I'm going to get better results. I don't know whether it's true right now. I don't know whether it's going to happen, but this is just one of those things. Again, it's not important how hard you row. It's more important what boat you're in. And it's even more important how hard you row and in what boat you're in. So yeah, choose the right thing. So this is the end of the video. I guess thank you for watching. If you're watching this, you're a legend. Greatness is coming.